Hello dissenters, my name is Alex and I am here today with a game called Torchlight 2 on the PC. This game has just released today, that is September 20th, 2012, at the price point of $20. That's a lot of 20s, and it is available on Steam. What is this game? What's it all about? I'm going to try to give you an in-depth look here to give you a little bit of a preview, what you can expect, and tell you ultimately if it's worth it. This is an action RPG in the vein of Diablo, of course with a much different art style, a lot more colorful, and a little bit more cartoony, but it does feature online co-op play with friends, or anyone for that matter, and it features up to 6-player co-op through the campaign. Which is just nuts. I have not seen that full 6 players for myself. Just been playing 2s right now. Still, I want to show you the game. Anyways, I'm going to show you in single player. Now, the thing about this is, you do have a login system. As you can see down here, you're logging into Runic Games, the developers of this Torchlight 2 game. And to log in, that's going to enable you to play online. However, great news for those of you who don't care about that. Whenever you want to resume a game, you do get to choose offline single player if you so choose. How about that? You mean I don't have to be connected to the internet to play single player? No, you don't, and you don't have to worry about lagging in your own single-player game. But you can also play LAN, local area network. If you're not connected to the internet, if you're on a computer right next to your friend, play that in LAN. So I love all the options here. I love how they're kind of sticking it to Blizzard and their release of Diablo 3. But let's go ahead and show you the details. I want to show you the menus first. In the settings here, we've got some pretty basic video options: bloom, rim lighting, VSync, anti-aliasing. Nothing too special here. There's not a whole lot of customization. We do have some nice details here if you want to keep it family friendly. If you want to let your child play, you've got a show blood option, so that's very cool. So you can play with them if you want to do it like that. Show helmet, hide helmet, all this, a couple little details that you would expect in an RPG. But there is a few more video details kind of over here: the particle, shadow, floating damage, and text. You know what, I just now saw this. We're gonna make this verbose. I don't know. Okay, we'll make it normal. I'm used to sparse, we'll make it normal. And we've also got an interesting item display menu. You know how when you're slashing and hacking, you've got all the loot dropping on the ground? Maybe I don't want to see white items anymore. I'm beyond those. I can uncheck all of those so that they no longer even appear on the ground for me to pick up. Very cool little feature. You can choose which ones you want to see if you have, for example, a max level character. So we're going to go ahead and cancel this. Of course, you can rebind keys if you so choose, but we're going to go ahead and get into the game. First, I want to show you the different classes that are available by clicking on New Game. There are 4 classes in total. We've got the Ember Mage, who is pretty much a traditional mage with elemental effects from fire to ice, so on and so forth. The Berserker, who I will be playing for this video, who is very much up in your face DPS type character, just fast, quick damage, but also does have some magic to supplement those abilities. The Engineer, who is pretty tanky. He does some slow swinging hits, and I'll explain how weapons work later on. But he does have abilities focused on support, so he's kind of like a paladin from WoW or something like that. He's very tanky, and he also has like heals, force fields, heal bots, and turrets, things like that. Really cool character. And then the Outlander, who has guns and magic, but also has a glaive that he can use to attack up close and personal. So it's kind of a mix of magic and ranged combat to some degree. So you can also change the faces. The skins and the faces are intertwined, so if you want a certain face and a certain color, you're not going to be able to pick between them. And you can also change hair and hair color. So not many options here, like 4 hairstyles for this particular guy, but still a welcome change from just being locked into one character. And you can also change the gender if you so choose. Again, more face options and hair options here as well. You also get to choose which pet you want, and there's a number of options as far as that is concerned too. But let's go ahead and hop into the game proper. I'm going to load up my level 20 Berserker. You can see him up close right here. He is looking pretty hot. He looks pretty awesome right now. Only level 20. I believe the level cap is level 100 if I'm not mistaken. And I am playing on the veteran difficulty. Before I forget to mention, when you do start a new game, you get to choose what difficulty you want to play on. How about that? If you couldn't tell, I didn't really like Diablo 3 too much, and one of the things I did not like about it was that I was locked into normal. I don't have a desire to play through the game 4 times, so I get to start Torchlight 2 on the second hardest difficulty setting. It's been a very good challenge, and I love it on my first playthrough. So let's go ahead and get into the game by hitting play. We're going to go and launch into offline single player right now. Alright, here we are in the frozen tundra of the Frosted Hills, one of the overworld areas of the game. I'm going to open up the map here and try to get it off to one side. The map's a little bit weird. I guess this will do. You can see that it is pretty large. This is a pretty big map, and there have been tons of quests to do. I've just got one dungeon left seemingly in this area, and I'm going to go ahead and take you through that dungeon, but I do want you to know that there are multiple overworlds that have that lead into dungeons, similar to how Diablo 3 is doing things. So we're going to go ahead and enter the Whispering Cave and show you what the combat looks like in this game, and just show you some of the general gameplay features. Now, I guess I should start out before I get into the combat by showing you a couple of the UI features that I have really taken a liking to. Now, first you'll notice we've got my pet ferret here, and I think a lot of people are probably picking the ferret, but look at this guy. Who would not pick this guy? Seriously, this is Professor. That's what I named him. This is Professor Ferret, and he has some really cool features. Besides, he's not just a normal familiar mini pet that just kind of runs around with you. He actually does things. He can attack enemies for you, and he's got a health bar and a mana bar up here at the top left. You can see you could also change the stance, passive, aggressive, and I can send him to town. But wait, why would I ever do that? Well, if I open up the pet panel here, I can also open up my inventory, and you can see that he's actually got his own inventory. So I've got these 3 items here. I don't want any of them. I'm going to shift click them over to his inventory, and if I wanted to, I could also get rid of consumables that I have, or even spells, but I've got 2 spells equipped. And yes, you can equip your pet with spells, so if I wanted to give my pet the ability to strike back at foes and reflect 10% damage, I could do that just by, if I had an ability to add to him, I could anyways. However, what I'm going to do is take all the stuff he's got, press this little green button, and he's just gone to town. He's just gone to sell all of my stuff, and if I wanted to, there was another tab to tell him to buy things for me. Am I out of potions? No big deal, just send my pet to town. Oh, hi everyone. How are you doing today? I am probably going to die here, so let me retreat just a little ways, summon my familiar wolf, and use all of my buffs. I've got a few different powers that I will try to explain in more detail here in just a second, but just look at the combat. Very flashy, lots of color to it, and it just looks cool altogether. I'm just having a ton of fun just playing this game. Aside from the loot, the combat is just really solid and really fluid. Now let me go ahead and address what my powers do for you right now. I do have a couple of specialized shadow abilities. That's a tree that I'm going down the most, and I will show you the skill tree here. We've got 3 different tabs. I've got Hunter, Tundra, and shadow skills, and I'm focusing on the shadow tree. Now, what's interesting about the tree, you see that there are tiers to some degree. However, you do not have to put a certain number of points in one tier to get to the next tier. So at level 28 or even 35, if I don't get any of the powers preceding these, no big deal. I can still put points into this. So in essence, it's very freeing. It gives you the ability to put points wherever you want. Every time you level up, you get 1 skill point. You can put up to 15 skill points in each ability. So as you can see in these first 2, I've got the 1 filled in of each of these 2 abilities. So the first tier has been upgraded. So if I just highlight Shadow Burst, for example, Shadow Burst is this ability that lets me kind of zoom forward and go through enemies. Whenever I go through them, I actually get health for hitting up to 3 enemies. And each time I hit an enemy, I get 8% of my health back because I've upgraded it so many times. But if you look, next time I rank it up, I get 8.5% of my health instead of 8%. I inflict 44% of my normal damage instead of 42%. But once I get 10 total points in there, right now I've got about 7 or 8. Once I get 10, I'll get tier 2. So at tier 2, it gives me an upgrade, and that's the same for all of these abilities. So putting more points into certain abilities and ranking them up will get you these tier bonuses. It's a very, very cool system. So let's say I want one ability out of this particular tree. Maybe I just want this ability. I can do that once I hit level 42, put points in this one, and ignore the rest of them, but I still have to choose to put points into them to rank them up and make them actually viable. So it's a very, very cool system. I love the way that the skill tree works. There seem to be about 21 abilities and 9 passives to choose from. So lots of choices here. I can have about 10 abilities on my hotbar at any given time, and I can even switch between my right mouse button on command. So for example, right now you can see it's on Eviscerate, so when I right click, you can see my Eviscerate mode, but if I hit tab, you'll watch as these 2 switch icons. I can switch them back and forth and make it a different ability for my right click, so it gives you a little bit of flexibility with those abilities. And just for my other abilities, just so you know, I got a Frost Breath, which freezes and chills. I've got a Storm Hatchet, which generates my Berserker Charge. And basically, when this gets full, I will do straight crits for about 6 seconds. I've got a Wolf Shade ability that summons a familiar wolf that does a lot of damage and also heals me. I've got a Storm Claw, which allows me to do extra electric damage and strike foes with lightning. And then I've got this Retribution, which I actually found this spell on the ground, just as loot, and it allows me to reflect damage for 12 seconds. So lots of cool abilities here, still leveling up and ranking these up as I go along. And it's also worth showing you the loot. We've got a lot of slots here, 2 rings, a helmet, shoulder pads, all of the usuals that you would expect. We can also switch weapons on the fly. So if I push, I don't have a second weapon equipped right now, but I do have a second tab. So if I wanted to put, say, this blade in here, I can do that and switch between those on the fly. And you can't really see it because those are the same claw weapon, but you can see I'm taking away one. And I think you get the general idea. But I love the loot system in this game, but I will explain why as I play a little bit more and get into the combat. I'm sure you're just kind of sitting there saying, please fight some dudes for me, if you would be so kind. Oh, I'm gonna die. Make sure to potion. Veteran ain't easy. I'm not a big Diablo player. I'm already out of mana, so it would seem. Picking up gold, I have items kind of hidden right now. I can hold Alt to show those items, but you can toggle it on if you so choose by hitting this magnifying glass. So toggling this on, we're just going to do that for the sake of the video. So now I can see we got a chest here. We've got a blue. Blue is higher than green, just so you know. But they do reward you with a lot of loot in this game. And I do mean a lot, and there's so much going on screen right now. I have no idea. It's probably a little bit difficult to follow through. I'm out of mana, and I'm not doing a very good job of fighting these guys. Still trying to get used to this combat if it makes you feel any better. I'm used to playing a mage, so I'm trying to... Oh, we've got an elite here. That's the problem. Okay, we probably... I think my mana's getting sapped. I feel like that's the problem at hand here. So what I'm going to do is try to take out the smaller guys first. Oh, they're just completely sapping all of my mana away. I don't know how you're supposed to fight these guys. That is rough. Alright, so I'm going to take out the smaller necromancers first. Okay, I've got all my crits right now, so I need to use them. Get over here, sir. Whenever I get crits as a berserker, I have a passive that actually lets me heal myself for every crit that I have. So I'm focusing on high dexterity right now. And with that dexterity, obviously I'll get more crits more frequently, and with those crits I'll be constantly healing myself in battle, or at least that's the idea, but this guy's tough. Whew. Whew, there are so many fun bosses. The combat is just wonderfully fluid in this game, and the loot finding, of course, is, as I mentioned, just significantly pleasing. I'm gonna die. These guys sapping my mana. I don't know how to react to this situation at all. Everything explodes in a blast of color. There's a lot of gore if you want there to be gore, and it is all cartoony, so it's all in good fun. Obviously, as I said, you could turn it off, but it is really satisfying to watch, just everything kind of exploding on screen. We've got the golden... It was the key right next to the chest. It's kind of funny. Alright, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and take a look at my loot and show you guys kind of what you can expect to find. Now, I want to mention, first of all, that in my playtime, I'm level 20. I have found 4 unique items. Those are oranges in Torchlight 2. Uniques are the rarest items in the game, if I'm not mistaken, but they are level appropriate, so I'm not going to be finding any level 100 gear. Now, what I like about this is, in all of my playtime in Diablo 3, I did not find a single set piece. I did not find a single awesome item. I bought most of mine from the auction house. Now, if you hated that about Diablo 3, this is the game for you, and I kid you not. Look, I've already got a level 10, requires level 10 set. Up to 4 pieces that I've found 3 so far. Yeah, I'm level 20, I need to find some new gear, but that notwithstanding, as I mentioned, I found some uniques. There's a unique ring. I also have a unique shotgun, which I can show you here, because, you know why I can show you? I can show you because, wait a second, did I never send my pet to town? Oh, I think he came back prematurely because I went through an instance, so he came back. So I need to send him back off to town to sell my stuff. Forgot about that. And I can show you that I've got the Big Dog unique hand cannon, which I can use if I want to. It'll do AoE damage in an area in front of me. And the reason I can use this shotgun is because you can use almost any weapon in the game. Do you want to use guns as a warrior, or a berserker I should say? Well, you can if you so choose. Nothing is really restricted unless it's class restricted. So there's no light, medium, heavy armor. So if I wanted to use, say, this two-handed troll cutter, unique axe, which I used for a while, I can. Look at all those stats. So satisfying to find at level 10. It's just fun, okay guys? There's no reason why you should limit loot until you're like played the game for 100 hours. I got this after only like 3 or 4 hours of play, and it's so much fun. and there's no reason not to. Loot is wonderful in this game. I cannot stress that enough. You can also socket certain gems. For example, the Spark Ember Spec Chaos Simmer, they do different things depending on if you put them in armor or weapons. Now let me go ahead and get the weapons that I had equipped back up on myself right now. Why was I using this club? I really don't remember why. I think I was trying to level it up. Some of these weapons actually have special abilities. I know one that I've seen has a 2% chance to cast a meteor. Lots of cool stuff, just lots of different tweaks on the different types of weapons, and I'm always finding something new. What was I doing? Now, it's worth noting that the reason I can run through this overworld area and not fight anything is because I've already been through here. See these dead corpses? I've already cleared this entire zone. Now, what that means is each time I log out and log in, it's still going to be cleared, and it actually remembers where I logged off. I don't have to teleport through town, go back through all the baddies that I already fought. They're all dead already. Now, some of you are like, wait, what? I want to fight them every single time. That's perfectly fine, because whenever you are starting an online game, you actually have the option, and I will go ahead and show you here once I log out of the game, and we're going to go back to the main menu. If I wanted to start an online game, I do have some options available to me. No, I don't want to click New Game. Wrong button. Let me try this again. Load my character. Let's go ahead and play Internet. And once we go into the online menu, you can see we have a lobby system here where I can actually join in on certain people's servers. And if I want to start my own game, I'm going to not add a friend. I'm going to create a game, and I have options here. See this re-roll world? Recreate the world with randomized dungeons and fresh spawns. So that will spawn all the monsters again and randomize all of the dungeons. And so every time that you want to just start over, this is how you're going to do it. So it's very easy. You have complete control over it. If you have to stop after a long session, you just don't have it in you to clear that area, finish all the quests, no big deal. The quests will still be there when you get back unless you choose otherwise. But lots of options here. We can set our max players up to 6. We can choose a level range if you want to play with random, make it friends only if you so choose. I love this game. It is so great. For $20, I am just having a ton of fun. I really cannot express it. This is everything that I wanted out of Diablo 3. I can't tell you how long it is. I can tell you I've played about 7 hours or so, and I am still in Act 1 if I'm not mistaken, unless Act 1 already passed me by and I just did not realize it. I think I'm still in Act 1, and I want to say that there are 3 or 4 acts, so it is going to be a fairly lengthy game, and once you do complete it, you do get a new game plus game type, which will allow you to go back through with the same character, keep your skills, and allow you to fight more difficult enemies. And as I mentioned, there are 4 difficulty settings, ranging from, I guess, what amounts to casual, normal, elite, and I think elite is the hardest one. I'm playing on veteran, which is the second to last. So I could not have said that any more confusingly, but you probably get the idea. Anyways, guys, the only fault I can find with this game is the runic login system. I did have some trouble logging in pre-release, but I'm hoping that they fix that for the actual release itself. It just would, I'd be putting in the correct password. It would tell me that I have not put in the right password, but hopefully that's all been fixed. Their servers do seem to be under a little stress right now. It did take a little bit to log in, but log in, it did. I didn't have any problems trying it out today. There's tons of loot to find in this game. I'm constantly upgrading my gear. The enemies are challenging and difficult thanks to the fact that I'm allowed to select my difficulty from the get-go. The dungeons are a lot of fun. I'm sorry I didn't show you a fun one today, but I'm going to go ahead and, well, actually I'm probably showing you a fun dungeon on the screen right now that I probably found after I recorded this gameplay, because I wanted to show you what they look like, a little bit more detail. Finally, the combat is extremely satisfying. The leveling up is, this feels like I have a sense of progression, and overall I'm just having fun. For $20, I would say Torchlight 2 is a must-buy. Play it with your friends in co-op if you can. That's where you're going to get the most out of it. Anyways, guys, I want to thank you very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and you want to see more videos like it, I know some of you have been asking for some more in-depth content. This is my response. So if you want to see more like this, leave me a like and a comment below. I would appreciate it very much. Thank you guys for watching. My name is Alex, and I will see you next time.